viewers. This is Facebook. This is the Gray Area. We are live right now. This is your boy Ray E.
This is your boy P. Wilson. What's happening?
And this is Ebony.
Ebony's in the building, y'all. I just want to tell y'all that we are so glad to be with y'all on a Thursday night.
Out of sight.
I don't get no applause. I don't get no.
We on the Ray Embry site.
Turn that volume down, Ebony.
We're on the
Ebony,
Ray.
you violate once a week
Can y'all
when
listen?
it comes to.
I'm trying to tell you, we're on Ray Embry. We're not on Gray Area.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That's why we couldn't find it.
Oh.
Just go.
Well.
Just
All
shut
right,
it down and go
y'all.
live again.
We going live from our other page.
We're gonna go live again. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
all
about to go
right.
live
Did
on
you
the
turn it
radio,
on?
Mom. I gotta call you back.
Are we live?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're live.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta go from the other page. Though.
It was me.
How do you
I
know
was trying to tell you, I
another
gotta call
page?
you right back.
Oh, it's easy. I just have to
Yeah, I'm on a radio show.
redo
Okay.
it.
So let's redo it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
We'll be
Okay,
right-
viewers, check this out. Your boy Ray E went live from the wrong page.
Yes, we are.
I have to go to the Gray Area page. So
It's
please,
all Ebony's fault.
so
It
please
is
bear
not.
with us. And my man, hold on. Let me introduce Robert Jackson real quick. Robert Jackson, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. What's good, fam?
We so glad that you're here, man. We're gonna have a great discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
All right. So
We'll be
Ray
right
needs
back.
a
All right,
nap,
so we'll
y'all.
be-
Ray, that's all right.
We will be
it's
right back.
Thursday. It's Thursday.
Ray
So,
needs a nap.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna be right back.
Follow us
all
on the
right?
Gray Area page. Yeah, we couldn't find it, and well, you didn't hear me because you had your things. I'm like, we can't pull it up for some reason. Oh wow, we have 20 views on it.
It's your fault, Andy.
I didn't know people still follow that page.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? I wonder if they got a pop up on that page versus the actual fan page.
Probably.
That's pretty strange. So you said you almost have everything done for Saturday?
Yeah, we're gonna be working all the way up to the day of.
Gotcha.
People still got money coming in and picking up stuff. Gotta get over to the school and set up tomorrow.
You work with Amp on that?
All right.
You know?
Do this again.
Project.
Yeah. Oh wow, he don't.
Well, good.
That's
Yeah,
what's
I'm sure he's busy. Got things going on. And he's not really busy doing his own thing. He's working for Mike Epps or doing something with him.
up. Something like.
I see his post, another major power move or something, him and Mike Epps or something. It's all good. Brother, I got 2 hands and 2 legs. God gave me, I use them.
Brother, and we're
Right.
gonna, look, we're gonna get into that.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
There's some questions I want to ask you. So.
Here we go. We on the right page now, y'all. My
Okay.
fault.
There we go.
So scroll down and see. There we are. Okay, here we go.
We trying to.
Turn volume down and then just share. Maybe say we're live or something like that.
Trying to share it now.
I mean, your shirt looking nice on the live feed.
Right post.
Hello, y'all, and we are back.
Back from this commercial break.
Yeah, we had a quick commercial break. Switch pages. You know how we do.
Right.
We are back again. It's your boy Ray E.
This is your boy P. Wilson, the second time tonight.
And this is And
Live.
this is Ebony.
Live from the Gray Area for the second time tonight.
We had 2 back-to-back shows.
Back to back, back to back to back. And our man Robert Jackson's in the building, y'all.
Yes.
What's good, family?
What's up, big bro? How you doing, man?
Everything's great, man. Feeling good.
Yes, sir. We good. We glad to have you here, man. You traveling. I mean, like you doing conferences, going from here, going from the East Coast to the West Coast. And man, I have to commend you on that. Tell us what you've been doing. Well, give the viewers a brief introduction of who you are in full and what you do, and then tell us what you've been doing.
Well, you know, I grew up here in Brightwood, so born and bred in Naptown. So this is my city, so no matter where I go, this is where I come from.
Yes.
So what I've been doing recently is, you know, going out to schools around the country and around the world, speaking to educators on how to retain our kids in school. I've been working with students on discipline and accountability,
Yes. Sir.
how to deal with pain, but I've also been working with parents. I've been working with parents. It's time for you to take your home back. It's time for us to take our kids back, and this is how we do it. You know, so
Yes,
just
sir.
working with educators, parents, and students, trying to bridge the gap. That's what I do.
Oh man, that's big. So tell us what you've been like hearing across the country. What is a something that when you go travel to different areas and different schools and different universities, and you've been on major platforms, news platforms. Tell us what's something that's been a major issue that you're trying to tackle in full.
Well, the major issue, the biggest issue I'm tackling is trying to wake these brothers up. You know, there's a war going on for the soul of our young men, especially our young black males. And I'm on a mission to wake these brothers up before it's too late.
Yeah.
Last year alone, there were 130 private prisons that made $3.3 billion last year.
Wow.
They getting
Billion.
paid to fill these seats with guys that look like us.
Yes.
You know, and I'm trying to wake these brothers up because I'm going to ask you a question. When a young man gets suspended from school, where does he go? Does he go to a rehabilitation center? Or does he go to get some treatment? No, he goes home in the same environment and he comes back the same way he came in.
Sometimes
So
that school is a safe haven for them.
Right.
And it is.
That's a
And
good point.
that's why we need, that's why I'm trying to get them to retain these kids in school.
Yeah.
But you can't teach anybody to care.
Right.
I tell educators all the time, I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, and different. If you care about kids, I can train you on what you need to do to save these young people.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think is like the root cause of why our youth are the way that that they are? Just certain things.
Man, this thing runs so deep. I'm trying to keep it short.
Yeah.
Systemic racism is real.
Gotcha.
So there's a system put in place since the very beginning for our kids to fail. But the biggest thing is that our kids need to wake up. I started teaching at Arlington High School in the mid '90s, and it's sad
Shout
to
out
me.
to Arlington.
Shout out to Arlington. You know, Arlington High School. It saddens me when the Michael Jordans come out. When the new Jordans come out, half the school was empty.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you take your son and buy him a $150 pair of gym shoes, but if there's a conference trying to save his soul for $25, you don't have it.
Right.
So we have to stop pointing the finger at everybody else and start pointing it at ourselves, you know. And we got to do
That's a
better
good
as a
point.
people. You know what I mean? I understand that there's systemic racism in place, but my color would never define my future. My choices do. And I got to make choices. You can't make me go do this and go that. I can go home and read on my own. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to teach kids to be self-sufficient because proper preparation prevents poor performance.
That's
Side
perfect.
feed.
Have
Real
you
talk.
found that there's a lot of initiatives right now to lower suspension rates in schools, and from just being on the inside of this whole thing, there's a lot of tricks to the trade on how you can skew those numbers because it's more of it's become more competitive to see who has the lowest suspension rates. And also it's a pressure from the top down on schools to have low suspension rates.
Okay?
So they get a little creative, not solving the problem, they just get a little creative. So with that said, what are some of the alternatives to suspension that actually work?
Well, one of the things is that we need culture diversity training for all educators. Just because a young man may look at you a certain way, how do you know he's not hungry?
Right.
Or how you know he wasn't abused the night before? You don't know what he's
Right,
going through.
right.
You gotta start we gotta start probing and asking questions. Once you start asking questions and you build relationships and build that rapport, and kids trust you,
Exactly.
not only will he pull his pants up, but he'll start doing everything else properly because he knows he's in a safe environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids are in protective mode all the time. They got to protect themselves at home. Then they come to school, and these educators, they know they don't want them in there.
Right.
When I got bused, when I was in Brightwood, and we got bused from Indianapolis Public Schools to Perry Township, you know, I get in there, and then, you know, they put us all in remedial classes. You know what I mean? So when you get put in remedial classes, you know, what is that telling me about what you value about me or my education and where I'm
Right.
coming from? It seems to me that you're telling me a lot without telling me anything at all.
Come on.
Absolutely.
So you can tell a person a lot without saying anything.
Right.
So when they put us all in remedial classes, I had to test my way out of that. Many kids from my neighborhood got frustrated. It's like, man, forget this test, man. I'm just gonna mark whatever. And then they get frustrated and they get kicked out of school, and not knowing at a young age, they setting us up to go to prison.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, sir.
the average prisoner has a 10th grade education. And when you can't read and when you don't value reading, your chances going to prison go up here.
That's right.
And if you don't take care of your anger will take care of you. Hurt people hurt people.
That's
Right.
right.
And that's why we commit these little petty crimes. And you hear about a guy who may have smoked marijuana on his third strike. He get 20 years.
Right.
But the same judge, this white dude, killed his wife and buried her in the backyard. He get probation.
Right.
You do the math.
Absolutely.
That's
You know
systematic. That's
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
You know what's
yeah.
amazing?
Some is systematic, some is us.
Yeah.
But the combination is
Yeah.
lethal.
Right.
But do you think, I'm sorry, do you think that is more systematic than us?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the system was put in place for us to do this to ourselves. But we have to wake up, man. You know, we got to get in that word of God and understand that, you know, we can do all things, you know, through Christ who strengthens us. And until we understand that and we value that as a people, man, we're going to continue to sink in the ocean, you know what I mean, as a people. Because just because one person is doing well, man, if the whole pack is not coming alongside me, then
That's
I'm not
right.
doing well at all.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? That's how, you know, I don't measure my success by looking at other people. I measure my success by doing better today than what I did yesterday. You know what I mean? And I got to bring in, ever since I've known you,
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring brothers alongside, like, wake up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's cool to get out here and talk about this and talk about that, but if we not valuing each other, if we not taking care of our kids, if we not taking care of our families, then we defeating the purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when we first met you, it was like, what, 2001?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a basketball league at Arlington,
Yeah.
and the whole gym was, you know, packed with kids from, you know, us and like the, you know, the
We
other.
had the NBA
I
jersey.
believe it's been
Nice
17
league.
years ago.
Yeah,
Man,
man,
you know, I wrote a
17.
grant for that. I wrote a grant and got $100,000. We bought uniforms,
Yeah,
Wow.
bought shoes.
shoes,
Nice.
You know, I'm just trying to do it. This, man, I'm just trying to figure it out myself. You know what I
Right.
mean? This 17 years ago.
'Cause
we did that.
yeah. You were about what 29 or 30 then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was a youngster.
That's amazing.
I'm about
Yeah.
29. Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Why you telling my age, bro?
I was-
I was
Hey,
just
hold
about
up,
to
I'm
say
still
that.
29.
You said that was 2001?
Yeah, man,
17
2001,
years ago,
man.
29?
Hey, you know,
Yep,
and
We
we.
still look 29, Mr. Jackson.
Now, I was a little bit older now. I'm 47 now, so.
Yeah, I mean, and we love the league, but you know, we had a coach, man. You know, we had a coach that made Ray hot, man. Oh my God. Hey, Ray was hot, man. Hey, look,
Man, this dude.
man, this coach, man, look, he was posted up, man, at the you know, at the liquor store, man, or something, you know, and start coaching. He's like, I go with what I feel.
I'm like, man, why you only playing certain players, man? It's supposed to be a fun league where everybody gets to play. Man, I go with
See,
what
and
I
I
feel.
couldn't control it all, but you know, I had over 500 men trying to get in that league.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
I
that's a
had
big
to
deal.
cut it down to 140.
So in
Man,
other
that gym was
words,
packed, man.
in other words, be glad you
Wednesdays and
made
Saturdays
the
we
cut.
played. It was packed.
Yeah.
We had to make a cut, man. I'm like, and there was some NBA players coming in.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I can't remember the guy's name
Bender.
now.
Bender
Yeah,
was
Bender.
there, yeah.
Those
Bender was
guys
there.
be coming through checking out the league. I said, man, look at these guys. Man.
Yeah, yeah.
I never knew it would grow into that, but I was just that program. I was just trying to help brothers through basketball.
You got to bring that back, man. Try
Yeah,
to figure out
man.
how to bring that back.
Yeah,
That was,
Hey,
that's
man,
a
that was a
great
lot of
program.
work, man.
That was a great program.
that was nice, though, because it was like a draft and everything.
Man,
Oh,
brothers
yeah.
stealing shoes and fighting and
Yeah,
all kind of
man.
crazy
Oh,
stuff,
yeah,
man. They were
yeah.
selling shoes at barbershops. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, come on, these shoes for the team, man.
See, man, see, that's
Catch and catch,
that.
selling shoes and stuff. Like, come on, bro, that's us, man. Now,
Wow.
who's to blame for that?
Us.
Right.
Us.
That's
That's
my
that mentality.
my people.
Yep,
Um,
exactly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ray.
No, I was gonna say I wanted to dig a little bit deeper because I was watching something on TV. I don't want to call it anything specific because I don't want no lawsuits or whatever. But I was watching something, and what was amazing to me, it was a courtroom.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where, you know, the same scenario. Officer kills a young black guy, and so. And you know what was amazing to me? Everybody who was in the courtroom, aside from the kid that was sitting there, was black or was white, and he was the only black kid in there. And the defense, which was the you know, for the state, the court appointed state, which is, to me, they talk with the officers and they all in the same thing to me. What was amazing to me is that in the defense of the young man, the narrative was, you know, they're speaking quiet. Well, you know, he couldn't do this, and you know, we just like they really wasn't fighting for him. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was a job. But when the other side came up, oh, it was explosive. You know, it was explosive, and you know what's crazy to me? It was just like, man, if I sat in that room and didn't look at it and didn't understand where that young brother came from. I would be against them too. The way that they made it look.
But that's like, what the media does, man.
What are you doing?
Scare tactics. Yeah.
Like they turn it into, and I feel like that there's a culture in this country of people who just automatically assume that black people have to be doing something wrong to be in the position that they are in.
Man, sound and image is extremely important. That's why I tell people all the time, so why you watch the news every day? It's the same stories. Right. You know what I mean? So sound and image is important. So when you keep on hearing it, you keep on seeing it, and you keep on hearing the same things, what happens is people get scared, man.
Right.
And the scare tactics are real. So people act out on fear or faith. You can't live in both.
Yeah.
And many people act out on fear, and when they see us, they scared, man. You know, so, you know, media influence, you know, we lead the nation in incarceration, death, unemployment, and dropouts. You know, so even getting on the airplane, I got a suit on. I'm getting on the airplane, sitting in first class. Man, I had some dude, you know, mean mugging me, talking crazy under his breath, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? It happens. It ain't just street.
Right.
It happens in corporate. It happens everywhere, man. Folks is just intimidated by it.
Absolutely.
And
why do you think that is, though?
I mean, because, like I said, it's media influence. Its perception has become reality. You know, according to Good and Brophy, you know, educators quickly form expectations for individual student learning based primarily upon their own perception. So perception has become reality. So if you're being taught since you were a kid to hate a certain race or look at these people as this, if you've been taught that since you were a kid, it's going to become a part of your DNA. Right. I don't care who you are.
Right.
If I show you a picture of some babies, some 1 or 2 year old babies, they sitting there playing together, black boy, Hispanic boy, white baby, they all playing together because they don't understand color. They don't understand racism.
Right.
Racism is taught.
Right.
It's taught. Look at some of the old pictures. You got brothers hanging in trees. They done had their scrotum cut off, and they sitting up here caning. They hanging in trees, and you got little kids sitting there looking, and they haven't flinched.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they learned that we don't have. They learned since they were kids we don't have feelings. But let me put a noose around a dog's neck.
Right.
What's going to happen to me?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be on CNN. I'm gonna be on Fox. I'm gonna be on every news station in this country, and I may get tried and convicted and hung.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because a dog's life has more value than us for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I call it invisibilization because if it's not happening in your world, it's of no interest to you. That's why when Philando Castile gets murdered in front of his fiance and his daughter, you read some of those comments. They was dogging that brother because he had dreadlocks and because he was a brother. This dude knew all 300 of his students' names. He knew the cafeteria staff. He knew the custodians. None of that comes out.
Wow.
It's just and what happened? The cop get off.
Yeah. Right.
This sister videotaped this dude. Why are you asking this man for his license? He not even driving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. The systemic racism. I was pulled over by the police. I'm trying to tell the guys, talk to him, tell him what happened. He told me to shut up.
Wow.
Now I'm a grown man. That wasn't good enough. So I'm trying to keep my cool because I know if I step the wrong way, I can get shot or I can put my family. And I got my family with me. I got my wife, my daughters, got my mama with me. He told my mama to shut up.
Wow.
It's almost like old me probably would have handled it different. got in trouble. I may have got killed. And y'all in the gray area talking about, man, Rob Jackson was doing this, and then he got killed by police. What happened?
Right.
But the new me said, I'm gonna shut up, and I went home and I sent the email to Chief Roach.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sent the email to Chief Roach, I sent another email to the mayor. I said, I want to have a meeting with this dude.
Right. Absolutely.
And I want to look at him face to face. And when I looked at him face to face, because I had that meeting, and when you do stuff in the community and know who you are,
Right.
they said, well, we better go on and have this meeting because there can
Right. For
Yes,
sure.
sir.
be some problems.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So when we had that meeting, I explained to that dude what invisibilization meant. I explained to him what racial microaggressions were. I started explaining to him what marginalization is. I explained to him how he made me feel in that moment.
Right.
Because pre-criminalization, you treat me like a criminal before I do anything based off my size, my race, bias, and everything else. These
Right.
implicit biases is why we treat it the way we are.
Right.
The sad part is that many of us treat each other like that.
Yes, sir.
That's the problem that we talking about now. Too many of us treat each other wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you say wake up, this is, you know, and when I hear you say wake up and I see what your teachings and what you're doing and when you're speaking to people, to me that means, look, you can whine and cry all you want to, but until you move your feet and become that leader, until you get out there and take action on yourself and take self accountability, then you know the chain it's not gonna move.
That's right.
So can you go in a little bit deeper, because I feel like I said earlier, there's a
Absolutely.
culture of people out there that will probably never get it,
Right.
and we have to stop looking at different cultures and saying, well, why you keep doing this to me?
Exactly.
Why you keep doing this stuff?
See,
Why
I
you keep
focus.
doing
See,
this?
that's the thing. I
Right.
focus on solutions.
Yeah.
Right.
And some people get mad about it. I'm like, man, I can sit up here and talk about the problem till tomorrow.
Right.
With me and my programs, what I do, I focus on solutions.
Right.
The conference this weekend, Black Men Stand Up. It's about solutions, man. I got brothers coming in. I got 8 hours to get it right.
Right.
They coming in at 7:30 in the morning. They leaving at 5. So I got this window where I got 400 to 500 men and young men together where we can build a kingdom.
Right.
And we can start building each other. And that's what I focus on, man, because you cannot change what's happened in the past. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you can change what's moving forward in the future. You can change the present. And you can change what you're doing in the present and the future.
Right.
So I can't keep going backwards. I ain't forget.
Right.
I know where I came from.
Right.
But I got to teach us how to move forward. How do we move forward
Right.
with everything that's going on today? We got young men in pain. We got young men that is ready to go out here and commit a crime, kill themselves. See, those are the kind of emails and those are messages I get at night that people don't know about.
Right.
I had a young man, I was speaking in Poughkeepsie, New York. I got an email. I was going to go to dinner, and I wasn't going to check the email. I said, let me go and check this email. I got an email popped up on my computer. Young man told me, if you hadn't come to my school today, I would have committed suicide.
Wow.
See, that's real, man.
Wow.
That's
I just and listen. You know what I said during that presentation? I said there are some young people in here who's contemplating suicide. I'm telling you, don't do it. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I don't care if you're the smartest kid in the school or you're the least smartest kid in the school. And you guess who this guy was? He was a valedictorian.
Wow.
And he said you was talking about me because I was planning on committing suicide. Everybody think because I make good grades that I got it all together. We need to focus on those kids on the bubble.
Right.
We spend all this time focused on this dude that don't care about nothing.
Right.
This guy cares about something. He don't know how to get in school, and he's trying to figure it out. And we got to teach them how, not only how to get in college, but how to stay.
Right.
We teach our kids how to get there, but nobody's teaching them how to stay. And that's the conversation I had with my son.
Right.
He just
How's he
finished his
doing?
freshman year at Morehouse. He just finished, and he had some tough patches. I said, "Hey, man, figure it out."
Right.
That's what manhood is about.
Right.
I said, I've been to college, I had to figure it out. I said, you don't tuck tail and run, you stay in and you figure it out.
Right.
And that's what we have to teach our kids, how to handle adversity. How do we take this and turn it into something positive?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Your family dysfunction don't have to be your dysfunction unless you let it be. You know what I mean? You choosing to let that be your dysfunction. You choose the way your day wants to go.
Right.
If you want your day to be good, then your day is going to be. If you want it to be chaotic, then that's
Or just too far gone. Do you think that some are too far gone?
no.
Yes, sir.
I think we can say that about each other. Some of us can talk about certain situations. I mean, I was on 38th Street, 9mm to a guy's head. Speaking our kids where we want them to go. The tongue is powerful. Use it to your advantage. You see something going on, don't till they in the ground.
Yes.
You know, then they too far gone. They 6 feet under. You know what I mean? As long as you got breath shoes, and dude stabbed me and took my shoes, and I never forgot it. You know what I mean? I was traumatized. That's called post-traumatic stress syndrome, and we got too many kids that have dealt with trauma,
Yes.
and nobody's counseling them, nobody's dealt with it. So when I ran, I carried a 9mm on me because Rodney Westmoreland was the first star football player that came out of my neighborhood, and he got murdered. And when he got home, and I was just, I was just being honest, man. I was living in fear, and I said, I want my education more than I want air to breathe. I ain't going back to where I came from, so they're gonna have to kill me, and I'm going out blazing. They come after me, I'm taking somebody with me, but when you angry
Right.
and you got a loaded 9mm, that's a bad combination. You know what I mean? So I run into this dude, man, and I almost killed him on 38th Street.
Wow.
And then, by the grace of God, I didn't pull that trigger. 4 months later, somebody else got it. He got killed execution style in front of his family.
Wow.
He had this dude that did so many people dirty. But that's the thing with us, man. We want to dog folks who's trying to do it right. We want to dog this dude that's married, calling him a punk. No, he a man.
Right.
Because it said in the Bible, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. You a punk because you still running around with all these chicks. You know what I mean? It takes a man to settle down with one. You know what I mean? I mean, that's some man stuff. But if you're trying to teach your kids how to do it right, our kids are watching our every move. My daughters watch what I do. My sons watch what I do. So if I'm mistreating their mom or if I'm disrespecting their mom or whatever, they watching that. So guess what kind of man my daughter going to look for? A disrespectful man.
Yes, sir.
What kind of man is my son going to be? He's going to try to be like his daddy. So if daddy running around doing this, that's what he's going to do.
I mean, we're both getting married this summer.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, man. Well, we need to have a private session with both of y'all.
Oh, and listen,
Learn how to say you're sorry, stay in that word.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Seriously.
And learn how to say yes, nod your head, and be done with it, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man,
Absolutely.
and marriage is a great thing, man. I mean, we got too many people talking negative about marriage. Marriage is great, that foundation, but when we've been taken away from each other since slavery,
Yes, sir.
and we've been taught that if you're an athlete or if you're an actor, or, you're supposed to do all this, that, and other. Listen, I ain't been no saint, and I've been a part of the problem too. But when you've been taught all those things, we need some real men stepping up being men. And we need you at home with your kids and your wife taking care of that family,
Yes.
and setting that example for other people.
Do you think that slavery was a choice?
Man, I knew y'all was gonna go there, man.
This is my brother, but this is my brother, man.
Was he
Now,
you
was
thinking
in my
that
head.
too?
Why was that in my head? I was just about to say, look, we had a conversation this past Saturday.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
It
You know
was
what I'm
really
saying?
it was good.
I've been in a lot of those lately too. Listen,
Uh-oh.
if you look at it objectively versus subjectively, yeah, it was a choice. It was a choice, actually.
Okay.
But I understand what Kanye was trying to say, but he hadn't read up on what he needed to read up on about. You can't compare stuff to slavery, right? And I get tired of people comparing athletes to slavery. Let me tell you something. I had a full scholarship to play football and run track in college. They paid for my meals. They paid for my room and board. They paid for everything, right? So I didn't have any student loans. How's that slavery? You know what I mean? I was going to play football anyway. 'Cause that's what I love to do.
Some would say that they're manufacturing you up until you get into an area where you start making millions of dollars, and then because you come from an area where you're not knowledgeable in finance, not all
Teach
of it.
yourself. Read.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they
Read
would
your
say
darn
that,
self.
They would say that you get funneled into this system.
I got cut
where
from the
you
NFL,
then-
man.
You then lose that money.
I ain't make hardly nothing. I got the NFL card. That's all I got to show for it. NFL stands for not for long. We got to start reading, man.
Nah,
And we got to start reading more. But back to your question.
Sure.
I believe that if you're in a situation where it's us three,
Okay.
and we all rebelling, like, man, we're great, F everybody up, man. We ain't great to be slaves no more. But then you got 10,000 that's scared to death because he just watched his brother get his scrotum cut off and hung in a tree over there.
Or get raped.
He just watched his daughter get raped in front of him. And this dude's saying, "Go ahead and rebel, and we're gonna take care of everybody else." They made sure they did it in front of everybody else. Everybody has a plan till the rabbit get the gun. You know what I mean? When the rabbit got the gun, then everybody's kind of looking different, right? So there were a lot of people that rebelled against slavery, and they were killed right away, and they were hung.
Right.
A lot of people paid with their life. So what I'm saying is, some people saying that and they thought they seen their brother over there hanging. Then they look back, I got my wife, I got my 2 daughters and my son looking at me. What's my next move gonna be? Well, if I say something, I'm gonna get hung, and then what's gonna happen to them? So he said, I'm gonna take my chances and I'm gonna stay back here. So that's great to me.
Right.
Yes, it was a choice, but what choice do you make when you got your little daughter right there?
That's a
Right.
great point.
And somebody about to hang your daughter in front of you? Cause they hang it, man. They ain't have no feelings about nothing with us. And they was, and it was a scared tactic.
They was feeding.
Let me get the strongest one in there. I'm gonna get the strongest here, and I'm gonna make him bow down.
Mm-hmm.
That it was a choice, but man, come on. Let me put you in that situation, Kanye.
Make more sense. Because from some people just don't know how to explain it right. A lot of people
Right.
got it that wouldn't have turned people.
Entitled to their opinion. And I'm not Kanye, so I don't know what he could have said better. I just would advise him to read, get understanding now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't teach us a lot of history when I was in high school, but a lot after high school. And it was Huey Newton. I didn't know none of that.
Eldridge,
You know?
Cleaver,
Stokely Carmichael.
Right.
I'm reading about Angela Davis and all that, because there's some sisters out there putting it down too.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and I'm sitting up here seeing all this stuff, and I'm reading. I'm like, man, this is crazy, man. Medgar Evers
Oh yeah.
get killed in his
Yeah.
driveway.
Yeah.
Every brother that stepped up and tried to do something for us got murdered.
Yeah.
And it's the same way in slavery. When brothers stepped up, Nat Turner.
Yeah.
Everybody who tried to step up and do something, it wasn't enough of us sticking together, just like it is right now.
Right.
Right.
It wasn't enough of us sticking together.
Why do you think white people, like, they always say, hey, just leave the past, in the past, like that has nothing to do with you. That just that pisses me off so much.
Oh man, that's a whole another story in itself.
Yeah.
Leaving in the past. I mean, I would love to leave in the past if you treat me better. I would love to leave in the past if 2 of us going for the same job and I get the same opportunity that you get. I would love to leave it in the past if I'm going for this house and I got the same loan amount of money that you have, but you get the house and I don't. I mean, this stuff is still going on, man. But sad part about today, Bill.
Right. Because their life is, where I didn't see any. I didn't get told no a lot.
Right.
Most of my life was just yes, 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 yes. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. But then I meet somebody that says, "Well, I didn't get those same opportunities." So if somebody's telling you that they didn't receive the same opportunities, you have to understand that. What makes it? Why is it so easy for people to say?
Bootstrap more conversation around, and especially stuff. I understand what Brother Kaepernick's trying. We need to be coming to the table to see these brothers play on Sunday.
Right.
And if you want to bring some social justice to the table, don't show up one Sunday to play. Let me ask, what's the league made of? 80%. They're gonna play with 20%. See, you got to start sending a message, and you send a message by getting in folks' pockets.
Right.
Yeah, we should.
And that's way more than the reparations, man. I want respect.
Right.
I want to be treated equal. And I want to stop being marginalized, man. Like we were talking to the dog dirtiest person on the planet. He just did a little petty, just to prove a point.
Right.
But then we got folks that's falling for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying, man. But I just think we deserve much more than that.
What do you say? I want to get back to what your work in schools. What do you say to the conversations that have a parent problem? We don't, or we can't reach the parents, or don't even forget about the parents because the parents just aren't there. What schools do that? Like how do they?
I've been doing this for a long time. And they with kids with me, and I can teach them something while I was at home, but I can help them. But just trying to build my career and everything. He think he's smarter than us. Look, man, you don't understand. At least I'm trying.
Right.
If somebody else, you just do something.
Right.
That's what we doing Saturday, man.
Platform. Really, the show evening. I just was
Too.
Oh yeah.
And that's what people. So I can. You ain't right. You ain't
Fall off.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Most definitely.
Yeah.
self-centeredness. People to disagree with you.
Right.
Stop feeling disrespected because it's so cool, but I just don't agree with you. So because I don't agree with you now, see, that's some old punk stuff right there.
Telling people like just because I disagree with you don't mean that you got to shut me out and shut me down and slander me. It's like we can have disagreements, but we still got to work.
We should
together.
have this. That's how you grow. We should never try to distract losing folks, and then when somebody
Right. I tell people all the time, like I don't agree with R. Kelly's personal life. I don't agree with Bill Cosby's past.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Donald Trump's policies. But there's not a bone in my body that said I can really actually hate these people. I just need to focus on what I'm doing with my family
That's
and
right.
what I can do with the people that's.
I can promise you one thing: Donald Trump ain't never coming to Brighton. Weekend in Chicago, and she's
Right.
you know, I don't have time for contusions, man. I got too much. My wife want me to be present.
Right.
Check it at the door. You trying to bring that radio stuff home? Your wife gonna be looking at you like, man, you better get out and take. You become a man when you get back home. Kids will humble you.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I got finished speaking in front of thousands of people. I come home, man. I'm husband. I'm daddy. You know, they don't care nothing about all that mess. My wife going upstairs. Hey, make sure you take the trash out. I said, boy, I ain't been home in 2 weeks. I got to take the trash out. That's love right there. They ain't nothing but love, brother.
You out here saving lives, but go ahead and take that trash.
Yeah, take that trash out while you saving lives and you know,
That's
and
what
get
it's
the kids
about.
a bath. I need a
That's
break.
what it's about. That's what it's about. You got this slogan that you use called "No Excuses." You got
Right.
them on T-shirts. You use it on your flyers and cap. Can you?
Yeah,
a
write
few
that
people
down.
have asked when the conference is and.
Getting angry, man. Listen, competence.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, I came up with this.
Right.
Yeah.
And for every problem, there's a solution. It's up to you and the way you think that make a decision about what you want to do. Decisions about every. When you make a bad decision, instead of you talking this, getting you a job, take that. You racist against yourself. Fathers, they had the donuts and dads.
Yeah.
And I was a keynote speaker. The brother, it don't cost you nothing to take your daughter to the park.
Wow.
And in that time, I said, man, stop making you mind down.
Right. So, both women and men. What must we do as a community for people to jump in and play a role?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We got to take the plank out of our eyes. First thing we need to do, we need to understand that, you know what I mean? We got to start looking to our children's children.
Right.
So when you really make a bad decision, think about that. This decision that you make, and you taking this risk getting turned out over here because she ain't got nobody teaching her nothing, you just,
Years.
right. I said, man, take your chances working, man. I said, look, you decided you didn't want to read, you didn't want to apply yourself in school, you made bad grades, and now you faced with the, at some point, years ago, and I said, listen, man, I'm not judging you. I don't know what you did or what you didn't. You're trying to help brothers. You trying to read. You get man in the pocket.
Right.
If you hurt that sister, man, that sister didn't hurt herself. You did something. At some point, can we take some responsibility? You know what I mean? I got a chick on this time she got. She thinking you don't speak to you. Man, you hurt. I ain't trying to say sister, you know what I'm saying, to see their kids. So I understand they wanted to get hurt, you hurt. But that don't mean he wasn't.
Man, dude, we got a lot to step up and do something about it. But for someone that says, I want to get involved. I want to get involved in the community, but I don't know where to start. Where do they start?
Man, you know, if you get on social media, it's all kind of stuff going on, people doing, man. It's all kind of conferences and events. I mean, just show up, man. I mean, sometimes you don't have to just get right involved. Sometimes you got to just get in the atmosphere and see what's going on. I got a conference going on Saturday. You know, there's going to be some people going to show up. There are going to be some people that's going to make excuses. You know, showing up is half the battle. And sometimes you don't have to. We're going to have vendors there set up, CLD. Oh, yeah, shout out to the Bloom Project. Really, we don't understand what everybody's doing.
Right.
You got to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody want to be a hero on Facebook and
Yes.
Instagram and Twitter, and you on there talking about what needs to be done, and I ain't seen you in the community doing nothing.
Right.
Right.
Hey, Peggy Serby's working behind the scenes, you know,
Right.
Absolutely.
because they're going to be about 200 kids showing they don't have a sponsor.
Wow.
Because some mothers are hurt. They drop your son as volunteers.
Okay.
I want 100% of the men alone, so we're going to have a lot of mothers volunteering.
Okay.
And if they want to volunteer, just go to www.robertjacksonmotivates.com. Click to get on the website, register your son, your grandson, your nephew, your daddy, your uncle. We need these seasoned men too, because we got to bridge this gap between our older generation and our younger generation and everybody in between.
Yeah.
We want to talk about each other, but nobody want to come to the table and have a discussion.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think is the disconnect between the older generations and the younger generation?
Well, yeah, everybody's stuck. That's a got a curl. That's just as worse.
Come on.
Let's talk about that curl you had back. Let's talk about them parachute pants you used to wear sliding across the floor.
Those
You already said the
they
curl.
had what
Oh,
was the
man.
half shirts, the
Listen,
cutoffs,
listen. We all done some stuff
Right.
in our younger days that we're not proud of, right?
Right.
We got to stop focusing on dress code
Yeah.
and focus
my
on.
God.
Oh, tell them why.
Right.
Young man, you a king, man. You're not a slave.
Mm.
Don't walk around like a slave.
Mm-hmm.
Not much pride and walk and love yourself. Well, man, my daddy wasn't there, but you here.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, oh, mom, get beat. Don't deal with him. It made her feel comfortable and stop judging.
Mm-hmm.
That
We did that last year.
and but I mean, that sit back and just go back in my. They got her son.
Yeah.
You know, crazy. I said, I'm gonna tell you something, brother. I'm not. Rule number 2 is honesty.
Right.
Man, rule number 3 is control your mind. Man, rule you the man rule. I'm not gonna let you leave.
Right.
Man, he just
Right.
give that brother another.
Mm.
We gotta teach our kids. He said, "What's the narrative?" I said, "Narrative."
Absolutely.
Else.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
I say, I'm always. I say, you need to understand, and you start recognizing what you're hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
I had wasn't bucking up. Then all of a sudden he loosened up a little bit. Like, let me listen and see what he talking about.
Absolutely. Do you feel like you get into that place that, and I call that your higher self? When you get to your higher self, you look at things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to take that heat and give it back in a different, as
Yeah.
opposed to just
Yeah.
react it.
It's called maturity, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why some of these women,
The action.
Yeah.
you know, you
Right.
because they don't have a date with your wife, and it's all both was young.
Right.
Right,
Wow.
man.
Congratulations.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Talk to him like I wanted to. This is cool.
By Tyler Perry, and it was it was Medea talking, but Medea said that he raised you in reverse, and basically saying that he wasn't in your life, he was never in your life, and that actually raised you into the man
That's right.
that you are, you know.
Yep.
Made me
And
hungry, made me not want to do
Right.
certain things. That's right.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
true.
That's
Yeah.
me.
But many of us can't see that.
yeah,
Right.
Because we so caught up in the pain and the suffering, what we're dealing with right now, and we can't really see what we're doing to ourselves.
yeah,
It's almost like that coyote that's licking that knife with that deer blood on it, with the deer blood on the knife, and he licking that knife, but he cutting his own tongue.
Right.
And now he's licking his own blood, and he's licking himself to death because he's cutting himself with that knife, and that's what we do.
yeah.
We cut ourselves with our own, we licking that knife, and we think it's the blood of an animal. It's our blood on there, and then we sit up there killing ourselves and don't even know it.
Do you think that because I think about my students and their stories and stuff with their parents, because children are so transparent now, they
Yeah.
tell you everything,
Yes, they do.
and it's like
When they trust you.
right. And so, you know, and I think about sometimes that, man, it's a good thing. I say to myself, you know, as hurtful as it is that they don't have that parent in their life, you know, imagine who you would be. Well, of course, in cases like pedophilia and things like that. But I'm saying, like, when you got, because these children are learning, they are yearning, even when their parents are jacked up, they yearn for that parent to be in their life.
Because they love
Because
their
they
parents.
love their
Yeah.
parent, right? And it's so, and you know, it's a good thing they, you know, they're not there because who knows what could be going on, you know. But it's kind of hard to explain